continue the discussion on how to run a great preschool ballet class. In the previous video, we talked about learning the students' names quickly, having big energy, and starting class with something that grabs the students' attention right away. Now let's talk about how to structure the class and the benefits of incorporating props. First, mixing up the class with a variety of activities is extremely helpful. Preschoolers have short attention spans and can't handle one activity for a long time. For example, after you're finished warming up, have the students move around or bring in props. If you're working on a dance, try not to work on a second dance right away. Practice leaps or jumps, bring out a parachute, or play a creative movement game. Always keep things moving and changing. Here is an example of how I run a 45-minute pre-ballet class. First, we gather together and have a bit of share time. Then I'll read a few pages of our book for the session. Then we'll warm up, which includes briefly introducing steps, jumping around, and stretching. Then we'll practice a dance, followed by a creative movement game. Next, we might play a game with props. Then practice another dance, practice leaps or jumps, and if there's still time, we can play another creative movement game. This is just one example. You can switch up the order any way you choose. You should also keep in mind the class's energy level and attention span. Some days you won't be able to do 2 dances, and others you may be able to do 3. Some days the students will need to move around more, and other days they might be able to focus more. Be prepared to go with the flow. Let's talk more about that now. In a preschool dance class, you never know what may happen. The students may be shy one day and super excited the next. If you teach more than one class, each class could also be very different. A class could also change their mood halfway through. What if you notice the class needs something different than what you have planned? And how do you know if your class needs a change? Here is an example. You just finished a dance with your class and you plan to have the students sit down and practice leaps one at a time. On this day, however, you notice the students are looking a little unfocused, and if you have them sit down, the energy of the class might crash. What do? I've already mentioned why it's so important to know your material. The choreography or games you play should be second nature in order for you to think about all the other things you need to teach. Not only are you teaching steps, you're watching the students' behavior, noticing if they're having fun, and thinking about what you're going to have them do next. We teachers have a lot on our plates. If you notice the class's energy is a bit low, what should you do? You will need to quickly change your plan to something more upbeat. Instead of having the students sit, it may be time for a creative movement game that has everyone moving around. You could choose a game you had planned to save for later, or incorporate leaps into a game that has everyone moving at the same time. What if you need the students to focus on a dance in order to prepare them for a show and you're having trouble keeping their attention? When I finish an activity, I not only notice the mood of my class, but I also keep in mind what I want them to learn that day. If we're preparing for a performance, they do need to practice their dances. I have the children practice their dances, but fit in creative games between each dance in order to keep the class's attention for the whole class. If you're only doing one dance for a show, have the children practice the dance at the beginning of class, and then after a few games, have them practice the dance at the end of class if needed. This way, they can practice their dances without becoming bored, and when it's performance time, the children will be ready. If they're really focused one day, then you could practice the dance right away again and take advantage of their attention. Reward them with a creative game after. Always remember, if you feel as if you practice the dance one more time you could completely lose your class, don't worry about it. Move on. These are preschoolers. We don't need to and don't want to drill them. They'll follow you in a show and do just fine. Just be willing to go with the flow. Of course, we want the children to follow the class plan, but never force it. We don't want to lose their focus, and we also don't want them to dislike the class. Do your best and remember to have fun. So now on to props. Props are very helpful in classes of all ages. Props bring something new and different to the class, spark creativity, and help develop motor skills. For example, you can use instruments in class. Shakers are a great companion to dance around with and are a perfect beginning musical instrument. Many other musical instruments can be used in class as well, such as drums, bells, or sticks. You can make an orchestra or a marching band. Not only are the children using their small and large motor skills, but they're also learning the beginnings of rhythm and musicality. Other props such as stuffed animals or beanbags are good for hand-eye coordination. Students can jump or leap over them. They can be gently tossed or balanced on different body parts while trying to dance at the same time. Animals are also great to use in creative games that use their imaginations. Parachutes are my favorite. The students can shake them up and down, fast or slow. They can also dance under them. We can even pretend they're big flowers or tents and use them in creative activities. There are so many possibilities when using props. They help add spice to a class and the students love them. For more information about using props in your classes, check out my ebook, Creative Movement Games for Preschoolers Incorporating Props, which is available on Amazon. Thank you for joining this video on adding variety to your classes and using props. In the next video, we'll talk about using your music and the teacher and students' participation in class.